Right, since it's now 4 o'clock, I'd like to call to order our June Finance Committee meeting. At this time, I'd like to welcome everyone who is here in attendance and thank you for your time and attention to our meeting and the agenda items we're going to be working with this afternoon. And first on our agenda, we have approval of the agenda. I believe everyone's probably had a minute or two to look over it since it's been posted for several days. So do I have a motion to approve our agenda for the meeting this afternoon?
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the June 24th, 2021 Finance Committee agenda.
Thank you, Mr. McCracken. I second that. So we have approval of our agenda. And next we have the approval of our minutes from the last Finance Committee meeting, which was on May the 27th. That document with the minutes is hyperlinked to the agenda. So if everybody will take a minute to look over that, please. And do we have a motion to approve the minutes from our last meeting in May?
Motion to approve the May 27th, 2021 Finance Committee minutes.
And thank you, Mr. McCracken. I second that motion. So we now have our minutes approved from the last meeting. All right, next on our agenda is the 2020-2021 budget resolution. And we'll ask Mrs. Jones to come forward and explain that and let us know what's going to be involved with that.
Yes, ma'am, Madam Chair. We have before you, the first item is the 2020-2021 budget resolution. This is as set forth by our auditors that they require us to adopt this each year. This would only come into play is if there's any budget amendments that are not completed before that June 30th deadline, that we see that there's something that we need. So it gives us the authority to make any adjustments needed up until that July 13th deadline. In previous years, we have not utilized this, but it's something that we have to approve just in case per the auditors.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Jones. Any discussion, any questions regarding this? Hearing no questions or discussion, do we have a motion to approve this for the consent agenda?
Yeah, do I read the statement that Ms. Bowen has on the agenda, or to just make a motion to approve the budget resolution?
I believe it'll just be going under consent. And then if the board approves it, then it will be approved that way.
Okay. So I would make a motion to approve the 2020-2021 budget resolution as presented.
I second that. So is there anything needed more for approval?
No, ma'am.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right, and while we have Mrs. Jones, the next agenda item is for the 2021-2022 interim budget resolution.
Yes, ma'am. This is the interim budget resolution for the next fiscal year, which is 21-22 fiscal year. This just gives us authority to spend up to 85% of our budget from this year until we can reconcile and receive the allotments from the state and federal so that we can adopt the actual budget for 21-22 school year.
Do we have any idea what the timetable could be for that?
It would be dependent on the legislature.
Right.
Typically
it's in October or November.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Any more questions or discussion regarding this item?
Hearing none, I'll make a motion to approve the interim budget resolution for the fiscal year 2021-2022.
Thank you, Mr. McCracken. I second that motion, and this too I would think would be appropriate for our consent agenda as well. Item number 6 on our agenda, we will hear from Dr. Waller and Amanda Cagle regarding child nutrition, general supplies, produce, and milk bids.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Lee County Schools Child Nutrition Department continues to be a part of the North Carolina Child Nutrition Procurement Alliance, and so have submitted bids for our upcoming year for general supplies, produce, and milk. And that was outlined by the Alliance as far as the different categories. So what Lee County Schools Child Nutrition Department is recommending is that we accept the bids for lot number 1, which is general merchandise and supplies like baggies and that type of thing. And Lee County Schools only received 1 bid, and that was from Cisco out of Raleigh. And that bid was, $1,078,401.87. For lot number 3, the supplies with the bottom line was came in with Cisco out of Raleigh, again being the lowest bid of $104,207.47. 47 cents. Lot number 4 was for produce with a bottom line bid from Foster Cavanagh of $40,456.25. And then the milk, the bottom line for that was from Pet Dairy for $280,663.10. So, and attached were all the outlined information that Ms. Cagle had obtained regarding the different costs. So those would be the recommendations for the committee to consider.
All right, thank you for that presentation, Dr. Waller. And at this time, are there any questions or discussion from committee? Seems like everything is very well organized to me. Since we are looking at very large dollar amounts, we would need approval for this to go on our July board agenda, I would think. Do we have a motion for that?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to put it for the full board, approving lot 1 of general school supplies for foods, lot 3 supplies, and lot 4, and also for the milk.
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
may I ask a question?
Sure.
Just to make sure. I think we're gonna, our plan was to take this to the end of June meeting next
Okay.
week. And that might help
That
us
makes sense.
facilitate things. Yes, ma'am.
Sure, that makes sense. All right,
So-
so
Yeah, so just amend that motion to present it at the end of June special call meeting.
and I second that. Thank you. All right, our next agenda item will also be presented by Dr. Waller and Mrs. Cagle. Child Nutrition has bids for kitchen equipment.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to defer those costs over to Ms. Kelly for her presentation because she has the information regarding the cost of that and the proposals.
Madam Chair, I work closely with Ms. Cagle to secure these bids for the replacement of some of our ovens. As you can see from the attachment, some of these items were purchased over 12 years ago and are just in desperate need of replacement. So she had actually put out a bid in regards to a grant that she had written, which I am pleased to say that we received 3 of the 15 that we were in need of. So kudos to her for writing that grant and getting 3 of those paid for. So what you have before you are the additional ones, which equal out to $68,400. She did contact the vendor that she had placed the bids with originally, and they stated that they would honor these bids. The reason why we wanted to go ahead and bring this to this meeting is the vendor has told us even if we place this order the first part of July. We're looking at December before these items would arrive. Because my understanding is very high demand, and the turnaround on making these are not as fast as they have been in the past.
All right, thank you so much, Mrs. Jones. That is absolutely wonderful that the grants were obtained, and thank you for, what did you say, it was Mrs. Cagle that did those?
Yes, ma'am, that is correct.
Well, we appreciate that. Any discussion or questions regarding these bids?
So all of them would be in whenever they came in December. Is that right, Kelly?
Yes, that's what they have projected. Now, as soon as they come in, of course, they will be installed. So, if they come in earlier than that, we will get them in just as soon as they come in place.
I have a question of clarification, if I may.
Go right ahead.
The ovens at Wicker School that are being replaced, they are not the steaming combi ovens, correct?
That is correct.
But what is the justification for replacing them? Because we know they're not 12 years old.
It is my understanding that they were needing it due to the number of students and the fact that they are not, from what Amanda explained to me, the whole meal pattern has changed with the pandemic, and they're doing a lot more with a different type of prep. So this particular type of oven is needed more so at that location than at the others.
Okay, so are you referring to the electric oven, or are you referring to replacing the oven they have with this convection oven that they're looking at?
It's my understanding that it's going to be added, not replaced. I think that might be a typo on her part. I believe it's an addition to, not a replacement.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's what I was questioning, because the age of the other ovens made sense, but the Wicker School having just been built. But I also understand that the sheer number of meals prepared this year on those ovens may have put more than a year's worth of use in them too.
Yeah, that was going to be my question. It sounds like it's an addition.
Yes.
In addition to.
Yes. I think that was just a typo on that part.
Okay, thank you.
That would make sense to, do some adding.
Are the rest of them replacement, or are there any other adding?
I believe the rest of them are replacement, and that's kind of why I think that was probably just a typo, because that was the only one that was going to be an additional.
Right.
Any more questions, discussion at this time? Dr. Bryan, is this something we're also looking for the June 30th meeting?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then do we have a motion?
Make a motion to approve this and move it to the end of June meeting, dealing with the kitchen equipment bids.
And a second. Okay, for our next agenda item, Dr. Allen will be presenting the Public Consulting Group Medicaid fee service.
Thank you. I wish I was a doctor, but I did not finish that. So
We were together,
apologize.
Kevin. We should have done it, man.
we should have. But I guess what we have before us today is the Public Consulting Group fee, that as we use Public Consulting Group for fee for service, oversight billing for Medicaid reimbursement. And as you can see, I believe it's on page 2 of the document that you have. It shows their 15% of what was collected for 90% for fiscal year 1920 and 15% for 1819, what comes up for the 77,578. A fantastic return. Our folks are increasing their Medicaid billing. We've opened up Medicaid billing. So that's just the fee that we pay that company for that oversight. And I'll be happy to answer any questions about it if you have them.
Do you have any idea how much money we're bringing in through Medicaid?
Well, total, if we look at all of our fee for services and all that, we're bringing in, and Kelly, you may want to jump in. We're bringing in anywhere from 400 and close to $475,000.
That is correct.
Hold on one second. We weren't unmuted. Say it one more time.
Okay, that is correct.
That's significant.
Absolutely. Our therapists are doing a fantastic job with that. Their service documentation is not just for Medicaid billing, but also for progress monitoring and documentation of services delivered. So they're really working hard with that, and we have increased that this year to where we are also now including psychological services and evaluations, since that's now been approved through DMA.
And
Great, thank you.
Madam Chair, may I just add that all that funding goes back into our EC department?
That's awesome. Great, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Do we have any more discussion or questions?
It's a pretty good return.
Absolutely.
If there are no more, then I'll make a motion to approve the Public Consulting Group Medicaid fee service as presented by Mr. Allen.
And is this something, again, we're looking for the June 30th agenda?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and I
Yeah, to be-
second that.
Yeah, to be put at the June 30th. Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
And Madam Chair, we'll put that on consent if that's okay.
sure. I have no
Thank-
problem with that.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate your help with that, Mr. Allen. All right, and now Dr. Dawson-Back will present renewal of Apex Learning.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have used Apex Learning for several years. Last year was the first time that we went with a new option, which was unlimited access, which our students and staff certainly took advantage of. The price does seem to increase every year, so we did reach out and request a 3-year contract to sort of lock in that price for the next 3 years. That 3-year cost would be $291,411.75. However, we would be invoiced yearly for the amount of $97,137.25. So that does lock in that price for 3 years. We did see an increase in the number of students who utilized this service, especially during COVID. So it was certainly perfect timing to go ahead and do this. Of course, Apex is the curriculum platform that's primarily used for credit recovery. It can also be used for new credit. There are also tutorials that come with this product in the areas of EOGs, EOCs, SAT, and ACT. Given the information that it provides and the service that it does for students, I think that this is definitely something we should move forward with. All the curriculum within this platform is aligned to North Carolina standards. And I will certainly be happy to answer any other questions you may have.
Thank you, Dr. Dawson-Back. Any questions, discussion?
I have no questions.
I have a quick one. I'm sorry,
Sure,
I
go right
shouldn't have
ahead.
questions, y'all.
Oh,
Tell me
yeah.
I'm not on
you
this
can ask
committee.
anytime
Sit
you
back and
want
hush.
to. That's fine.
Chris, do you have any kind of idea of how much the price jumped for this year so that we can get an idea of cost savings by entering into the 3-year contract?
I believe when I pulled last year, we were right at $93,000. So I think it was about a $4,000 cost. My fear is, and my guess is going to be, the more and more that districts begin to go to a virtual option, this is only going to increase because many school districts are using this for their platform for virtual. And I also think it would be a great use of ESSER funding.
Gotcha.
I agree with that totally.
Thank
That
you.
would be perfect for ESSER funding. Any other questions, discussion?
If there are none, I'll make a motion that we move this to the end of the meeting in June as well, to approve the renewal of the Apex Learning.
And I second that. Thank you. All right, and that brings us back to Mrs. Jones, workers' compensation policy renewal.
Okay. What you have before you is a copy from Surrey Insurance. They are our workers' comp providers for the district. Each year they do go out and bid our information with different companies that they have under their umbrella. I'm happy to say that the current company that we were using, which was EMC, come back with a higher bid this year. And so they will be able to save us a little money in regards to, we were going to see a 23.1% increase if we remained with EMC Insurance. And they are proposing, and my recommendation is to go with Liberty, which was only a 7.9% increase for the workers' comp for this year. You will see they also received 2 other bids that were way out of our ballpark. But I did touch base with Surrey just to make sure. They stated that Chatham County Schools as well as Alamance County Schools were currently using Liberty with them as well. So it's not a company that we've never heard of. And I did talk with those finance officers, and they stated that they were very pleased with the product that they were being offered.
Is it basically the same product as what the other company offers?
That is correct.
Do you have any questions, discussion? I think it's always a good thing when we can save significant amounts of money.
Yeah, especially if we get the same coverage.
And it makes me feel better to know that counties adjacent to us are using it and very happy with the product as well.
If we're good, then I'll make a motion to approve the working compensation policy renewal going with Liberty. And Dr. Bryan will be moving this for full board approval at the end of June as well.
Yes, sir.
Sounds good.
And I would think this would be something we could put on consent agenda. Or
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
okay, just to clarify. And I second that. All right, so that brings us to the May financial report, which is an FYI item on our agenda. Back to Mrs. Jones.
Yes, ma'am. You have before you your May financials. Those are hot off the press. We posted them that morning. I had just finished reconciling everything for the end of May. And I will be open to any questions that you might have.
Thank you for providing this as always, Kelly.
Questions regarding the May financial report? And I'd like to also add my thanks to Kelly for working on that and providing it to us.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
hearing no questions, then that brings us to the board expense summary, which is also an FYI item.
That is correct. I have updated this as of the other day when we posted as well. So it is as up to date as our books are. And I'll be open to any questions that you might have.
Any questions regarding the board report, board expense?
No, ma'am.
All right, sounds good to me. All right, so that brings us to the end of our agenda, and I'd like to take a minute to just thank everyone who worked very hard to prepare bids, to prepare presentations, and appreciate the hard work that's put forth on behalf of our students, especially when it comes to getting the best product for the best price possible as well. So if no one has anything else, then I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved to adjourn.
All right, thank you so much. Hope everyone has a great evening.
Yeah, happy 4th.
Yes, happy 4th, everyone.
Thank you.
We are now adjourned.